Hi, now hopefully this is going to be a quick repair video. This is a Huawei, that's how I believe it's pronounced correctly. It's the Huawei phone. This is the Huawei P8 Lite. I brought this as a replacement phone while my other one was being repaired. I've since got that one back. So I wanted to put this on eBay, but stupidly, getting into the car, dropped it, and it's got a glass back, and that's completely shattered the back of it. Luckily the screen is completely intact, so I don't need to worry too much about that. So I've ordered a replacement and it's arrived here. Now of course one thing with these sort of repairs is obviously you can do some searches online and find out videos like this where people have done it, so you can see how it's done, and of course that is the aim of the video. The other thing to do if you're not too sure how something comes apart like this is to have a look at the new replacement you've got. So if we take this out of the package, we can see here, so we've got some protective film, which is to be expected for this sort of thing. But if we look at the back part of it, we want to be looking at how is it actually attached to it. Now it looks to me like this has a sticky film over it protecting, I should suspect, some sticky back pads. So we'll just peel that back a little bit and just see. And yes, so we got some sticky double-sided tapes type stuff that's all around the outside. So as we know that's around the outside, we know pretty much how this back is held on this one. So all being well, I'm hoping it might not work perfectly because of the cracks in it, but if I use a suction pad, you can buy these in typical mobile phone repair kits, and hot air gun. Now ideally you want a temperature controlled gun, not just one for paint stripping, because that will certainly get the phone too hot. If you don't have a temperature controlled one, a hairdryer would probably work, although I can't sort of guarantee the success rate you'll have with that. But basically what we want to do is run with the hot air gun around the outside, just enough to heat the glue up enough to melt it, and then hopefully with the suction pads that would enable us to pull the back of the phone off and then put the new replacement on. Okay, so I've got one of these suction pads here. So these are the classic sort of thing that you're looking at that will suction to the screen if you're doing a screen repair, or the back if it's glass like that, and should allow us to put it off. So what we'll start with is just running the hot air gun around the outside, and hopefully that will melt the glue enough to remove it. At the minute I've got this set at 100 degrees. Might need to go slightly higher than that to actually pull this off. That obviously depends on the design of the phone as well. If it's a kind of aluminium casing to the phone, something like that, then of course it's going to suck away a lot of the heat that you're applying. But if we can get that reasonably warm, we should be alright. I think I will up that actually to 150-ish. 160 that'll do. And we'll just carry on with that. I really don't understand why they decide to put glass backs on a phone. It's just another thing to break if you drop the thing. I know the new iPhone has done that as well, haven't they? I believe put glass on it. The only phone I had before which had a glass back was the Nexus 4. And that one I did drop it a few times, it did never break. Unfortunately this is not exactly a very expensive phone, so it's kind of understandable that it wouldn't be, the glass wouldn't be as strong as it might be on a more higher end model. The other problem I found with it is just far too slippery. Every single thing you put it on, it just slid off. So that was really highly infuriating. Right, so that's quite warm now. We'll just see if we can get this to pull off a bit. Fortunately these pads don't always stick perfectly, it's certainly not budging yet, so we'll carry on with that. And we'll find ourselves a plastic spudger tool, see if we can get it hooked underneath somewhere. Apologies for not having any videos recently. I've been busy with my own things. I've also been sorting out my kind of lab area in the bedroom a fair bit recently. Apologies again for the shadow here. I forgot to mention it earlier, but yeah, these just because of the camera position, the lighting position, it's casting a shadow. I've moved things around a bit and I haven't sort of fully perfected the layout yet for videos, but that will be improved in the future, I'm sure. Right, let's see how we're getting on with that. Certainly is pulling up, it's just not quite enough to come away from the edge. I'll try just moisten that suction pad a little bit. We'll get that on there and apply more heat again. I think I'm actually going to go for 200 on this. I'm pretty sure that that's not going to be too high to damage anything. If I can just get a grip underneath, I think we can start pulling it away, but it probably will come apart in bits due to the fact that it's actually shattered. You can kind of see the impact on this corner, it's just shattered right across. Ideally, I want to try and get it off in one piece if I can, rather than having to pull it off in little bits. There's already bits coming off it anyway. Don't really want little bits of glass floating around everywhere, so try and keep them on my bench. I think I'm going to try and get underneath one of these sections. Problem is, you're not able to get great suction on it because of the fact that it's cracked. I think it's going to come apart in pieces, isn't it, unfortunately? Let's have a go. As always, the ones that are supposed to be quick end up being a lot slower. Yeah, this is really frustrating. I think I want to get the layer underneath that. It's a laminate layer. There we are. Obviously, really you should be wearing some kind of protective gloves when working with glass. So now we've actually got that on the corner, I'm pretty confident now if we heat that up enough, should be able to more or less pull the whole thing back. Could also use playing cards, they're quite useful to slide in from underneath. I have got some if need be. But as we know, the glue is pretty much just concentrated on the edges. Hopefully we can get away with that, all being well. Now, on a side note, you're probably aware that YouTube have changed their policies for content creators now, meaning that you now need to have over 4,000 watch hours in a year. That's certainly well over that, and 1,000 subscribers. So unfortunately, because I don't quite meet the 1,000 subscribers, I've lost the monetization on my channel at the moment. Now, these videos cost money to make. I have got my Patreon account, so if you'd like to make a donation, I would really appreciate that on Patreon. Anything from as little as $1 a month. And hopefully once I obviously reach 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to get the monetization back on the channel again, which will certainly help me to purchase new items and produce more content for you guys. Right, let's give that a go. Yeah, this is coming off in pieces, which is really, really frustrating. Okay, so we've got the wire there for the fingerprint sensor, so I believe that has to be removed from this glass somehow, so I'll have to look at that. Try not to damage that while I'm putting this on. Okay, so there's our flex for the fingerprint sensor. So what we need to have a look at is removing that. They stuck that down a bit of Kapton tape. Okay, let's have a look. Get some tweezers. Okay, I'll just place that tape there, and then we can hopefully take this flat flex out. Okay, so that's that disconnected. And we'll just check for any glass residue on the back of the phone. That looks pretty intact to me, that's fine. Right, let me just clean up this mess and we'll see about removing this sensor on the back of it. Right, so I've actually pulled that off. It seemed to be, come on, focus. Sorry if it's out of focus. Anyway, this is the sensor. If the thing would actually focus right. It just seems to be held on with some form of glue, but it's sort of come off with all the bits of glass on it. So I'm just going to try and clean that up, and we'll sort of see how that gets reattached to the back of the new one. Okay, so I've got that cleaned up now. I think in hindsight, possibly that it's all part of one giant adhesive back in here that I think would need to be the whole thing heated up and pulled off in one go. Yeah, I'm not too sure. You might have varied luck with that. That certainly didn't work quite as I was hoping. Hopefully the sensor has not been damaged at all. Just got to work out how to stick it back into the fix it to the new back piece. So let's peel this backing off and see what we can do. Obviously at this point I want to try and make sure I don't get ruin that glue. So this is the back part. So let's see. This fitted in like that last time. So that fits in there okay, so we just need to get that to actually stick in there now. So I think I might have to go with some double-sided tape. Something like that. I think we can use some bits of this to fashion something around the outside there that we can hopefully then use to stick that back in. Ideally a template would be useful for this. Right, bear with me while I get something made out of that to place down there. Alright, so I've basically got some of that tape stuck down there, so hopefully now, if we just make sure there's definitely no more little traces of glass on this, that will obviously stop it sitting dead flat. We want it to sit as flat as possible. That should hopefully stick back down again. So yeah, I think possibly with that one is to heat the whole of that back pad up and try and get the whole thing off in one go. Or alternatively, if these are cheap and easy to get hold of, then I would say just replace the actual sensor itself. So we try and line that up with the hole. And stick that down. Hopefully that will hold. I might put a bit of tape over the back side as well, just to make sure that's held in fine. That's certainly through the hole, as we would want, I think. There, so that seems to be okay. I'm reasonably happy with that. So what I'll do now is I'll just get a bit of tape to stick over the back of that, just to secure it a bit better. Right, I haven't actually got any Kapton tape at the moment, so I think if we go for some 3M double-sided tape, this should do the job. Let's cut a piece of that off. Let me get the scissors. Yeah, I think that should be fine. We could also use that to, as tape, to help stick the back on if need be. Right, so that's in place. So now what we need to do is clear this mess out of the way again. Let's reattach our flat flex for this sensor. So that's going to be that way around, isn't it? Let's check. So that's going to go that way. These are always such a fiddly job attaching these. Right, let's see, little flaps up. Right, I think that's in now. Let's just double check we got that set right for that. Yeah, that's fine. So just going to use that bit of Kapton tape we took off earlier to place over there to keep that in place. Okay, so that's on. Right, so now we just got to double check that this is all clean, and then we should be able to just place the back on and push down on it. Now obviously the camera lens goes through this, so we just want to obviously make sure that the area for the camera there and the flash are nice and clear. I think I'll just grab a polishing cloth and just give it a little bit of a clean just to make sure. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any better than that at the minute. So hopefully now, I might need to apply a bit of heat to fully set this glue. We should just be able to pop that back on and get that lined up. Take that off. It's not quite sticking at the top, not too sure why. Is there something in the way? Yeah, I think you need the tiniest bit of glass and that won't stick again. I've got to say, it's not ultra sticky either, though, to be fair. Right, let's see. I think that's okay. I think what we'll do is we'll take the backing off this. Oh, of course, the other thing could be the depth of this, because this wasn't fully covered when I took it out. So if we just cut that off there. Yeah, that's fine. Then what we do is just peel this back as well. And we'll go again. Okay, so that alignment looks pretty good. Still a little bit off there. I'm pretty happy with that. That seems to be correct. What I'm going to do is just apply the heat gun over it again, just to warm it up, and that will just help reset the glue. And then we can turn it on and make sure it works. Hopefully I've not damaged that fingerprint sensor, because I want to sell this phone. I'm not intending to put it apart again to replace the sensor if it's damaged, but I'm pretty sure it should be fine. Try to avoid bending it too much and stuff, so it should be okay. Right. Put that there a minute and just apply some firm pressure to the edges. So make sure that's fully stuck down. And there's a little tiny bit of movement on that corner. I can live with that, that's not too bad. I think once the glue's fully sort of settled down, that'll probably go away, or it'll certainly work its way out. So if we just clean that up a bit, and let's turn it on. Right, so that's working fine. I let that boot up. I have actually reset this phone, so I might have to go back through the settings, but we'll just do that just to make sure the camera's okay and that the fingerprint sensor works. Okay, I've got that booted up. Had to go through the standard setup procedure again. I'll need to factory reset it before setting it. Yep, I can confirm that it does recognise my fingerprint fine. It allowed me to set that up, and the camera image is perfectly clear on here with no visible blurriness or lines or anything to it. So I would say that's pretty successful. Certainly wasn't as quick as I was hoping, but that's often the case with that. But that's certainly repaired that with a nice new back. Hopefully that little bit in the corner has settled down at some point, but unless somebody's got the phone, they're going to keep doing that. They're not going to notice too much. And yeah, now I can get that on eBay. Is it just me, or does that look slightly bent as well? What is it with phones bending nowadays? Anyway, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. That does help with YouTube ratings. And like I said, if you've not subscribed, please do subscribe. It's completely free. It just means that obviously if you click the little gear icon, they changed it now, but there's a way of allowing notifications, so when I upload something you'll get an email to say I've uploaded a video. You don't have to enable that feature, of course, but if you can subscribe, that will certainly help me get to that 1,000 and get the monetization back. See you soon for the next video, guys. Cheers.